Chapter 1, 145, 7th year, What We Lack. They were wonderful promises, but it wasn't to be. Remus would not have the chance to make a mysterious and dignified early exit from Hogwarts, and Sirius would not get the opportunity to prove he would follow his Moony anywhere. Later, after the war was over and everything else was over too, Remus would wonder whether things might have gone differently if he and Sirius had left school then. Perhaps they could have kept each other closer, or by removing themselves they could have kept other people safer. Anyway, it didn't happen, and it did no good to dwell on. For years and years afterwards, once the agony of all those funerals and obituaries and memorials and speeches had faded, Remus would be left with memories of his last months at Hogwarts, when they had been stupid and naive and indescribably happy without even knowing it. Wednesday, March 29th, 1978. The weekend passed quietly. There was homework to complete, and Quidditch to train for, and an enormously complicated prank to plan, and Marlene did not make a move in any direction. Sirius and James reported that she attended Quidditch practice and played as well as she ever had, but hadn't spoken to them. Mary said she was still upset, but that she hadn't made her mind up whether or not to tell. They were well into the next week by the time Marlene finally decided to approach Remus again. She caught him alone, which was rare these days. He was tidying up the Charms classroom following a revision session just before the Wednesday inter-house prank planning co-operative meeting. Usually Chris helped, but he was down with a head cold and had taken the afternoon off. Remus had half wanted to call off the group altogether. It all seemed so futile. Learning and learning and learning. For what? To pass an exam, get a good mark, and then... If Greyback didn't kill him before he was 20, then he would still be unemployable, but everyone seemed to like the study groups, and he hated letting them down. She entered the room smelling of herbs from the greenhouse, rosemary and sage, and rich earthy soil. He turned and unconsciously backed himself against a wall. "Hello," he said. She stood still for a while, staring at him in total silence, before replying,
"Hello, I'm furious with you."
"I know." He nodded, trying to be understanding. "I think that's fair enough. Are you ready to talk about it?"
"No,"
she shot, folding her arms. She glared at him, and he averted his eyes, like a supplicant begging forgiveness. He heard her fidget a bit and sigh impatiently.
"But Danny says I have to."
Remus consciously avoided smiling, but couldn't ignore the flood of relief he felt at those words. He looked up again, carefully. "You've spoken to him properly, then?"
"Yes. He said he tried the Murtlap essence combined with Muggle TCP, and he's healing faster. And you were right about taking a sleeping draught."
"It's the best thing I've found. For healing." Remus replied, warily, averting his eyes again. She made him feel so ashamed of himself.
"Everyone knew except me,"
Marlene said. She was leaning against the opposite wall now, the whole room between them, the jumble of chairs and desks.
"Even Mary."
"She worked it out, I didn't tell her."
"I always thought you were weird because you were queer."
He frowned a bit. Was he weird? He didn't say anything. He couldn't think of anything that would make it better.
"You really hurt my feelings, Remus."
Marlene continued.
"You lied to me for years. I thought we were friends. I shared things with you I haven't told anyone else."
"We are friends," Remus protested. "I'm your friend anyway." He sighed heavily. Would it always be like this when people found out? "Look, I couldn't tell you. There were too many people involved. Madame Pomfrey, and even Dumbledore. I had to keep it quiet for their sakes too. And you've made it quite clear in the past how you feel about people like me."
"You should have told me."
"What would you have done?" Remus was getting annoyed now. "Complained, told everyone, got me expelled."
"I might not have."
She bit her lip and looked away. The less certain she was, the more angry Remus grew. "Well, I didn't much fancy taking the risk," he said. "I haven't got a family or a real home to go to, in case you'd forgotten. I haven't got anything going for me outside of this school, so forgive me for doing everything I could to stay."
"I understand that.
She looked up quickly, reaching her hands out.
And I'd never want to cause you any trouble. But Remus, can't you see how dangerous?"
"I was 11.
I was only a kid, and this old man shows up and tells me I'm going to magic school. What would you have done?
Don't shout at me.
She frowned, shrinking a bit.
I didn't come to shout.
Sorry,
He muttered.
I didn't get my chance the other day.
I'm sorry about that.
Good.
They were quiet after that, both looking at the ground, both fidgeting with their hands. Remus could hear Marlene's heart thudding in a steady, anxious rhythm.
Look,
He said, keeping his voice low and steady, unclenching his fists.
if you want me to leave Hogwarts, then I will. As long as you promise not to get anyone else in trouble, I'm not going to put up a fight.
But your NEWTs...
They won't matter if you're going to tell everyone how dangerous I am.
You sound like Danny.
Quiet again. Remus shook his head, tired and exasperated. He tried a different tack.
How is he now? The letter said he wanted to meet me.
He's okay.
She nodded, her eyes a bit bright.
I think it cheered him up, knowing that someone else was going through the same thing.
Yeah,
Remus nodded.
it's something I would have liked. James and Sirius and Pete, they've always made sure I never felt alone, so I know how much of a difference it makes.
Marlene nodded and wiped her eyes.
I'm angry,
She said tiredly.
but I don't know if I'm angry with you. It was such a shock, and I'm not sure how many more shocks I can take these days.
He laughed and didn't really know why. She smiled weakly.
I'm not going to say anything. I don't want you to go anywhere. Danny says we need to focus on our similarities, not our differences, now more than ever. Lily and Mary said the same. I know they're right. It's just harder than I expected.
I can't have you hating me.
He said warily.
I don't hate you.
Hating what I am is the same thing.
I'm trying, Remus.
She blinked away tears.
I swear, I'll try.
Thank you.
He nodded. For a split second he was disappointed. He'd been so ready for a change. Knowing he'd have to wait a bit longer stung for a moment, but dissipated quickly, like a door closing. That was that. He would finish school and beat everyone in history, arithmancy too, probably, and watch the final Quidditch game and get too drunk celebrating with his friends. Greyback would wait.
Can I help you with this?
Marlene gestured at the messy classroom.
Potter and Black and their gang of miscreants will be here in a minute to plan their raid on Slytherin.
Yeah, okay.
Remus nodded, and they both began moving the desks. The confrontation seemed to be over, and for now they were both satisfied. He was glad. It had been awful not having Marlene as a friend. Remus and Chris usually used magic to move the classroom furniture back, but Marlene had never been good at locomotion spells, so she just started lifting and pushing things. Remus didn't want to show off now that they were back on tentative talking terms, so he did his best to match her.
I'm going to talk to Mary,
Marlene said suddenly, lifting a chair and pushing it under a desk.
Yaz wants me to. I told Danny already.
That's good.
Remus smiled, encouragingly.
I'm sure Mary will be fine. She's the least judgmental person I know.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Marlene watched him, thoughtfully, as he moved the final table back into place.
Remus? Is your limp because of the transformations?
Am I limping?
Remus stood a bit straighter, self-conscious.
Sometimes more than others,
She replied matter-of-factly.
I always thought, with your upbringing, someone did it to you.
He shook his head.
When I was 13 or so, I think something clicked back into place a bit wonky.
He shrugged.
Gets a bit stiff now and then. I hardly think about it now.
She replied, looking thoughtful.
How many times?
The door flew open and Lily entered, looking furious. James trailing behind her, Peter and Sirius close behind, both smirking.
We said no pranks until the end of term. We're supposed to be keeping a low profile. You're head boy.
Come on, Evans.
James said, hands out.
That was nothing. Barely even a prank. It was,
He cast a pleading glance at Sirius.
High spirits.
Sirius supplied.
high spirits.
James nodded, grinning.
All of the bathroom mirrors suddenly reflecting back troll faces is high spirits.
Lily rounded on them both. It was no good. All three boys collapsed into peals of laughter. Remus sniggered too. He'd done half the research for that one. The week before, he'd spent hours searching through books of Troll Dynasty histories for portraits to get all the features right. He hoped he'd get a chance to catch some of the reactions before Flitwick managed to break the glamour spell they'd used.
You nutters!
Marlene smiled shyly.
Marlene.
Lily gasped. They all turned to look at her, and then to Remus, agape. He made a point of smiling back at them all, relaxing his shoulders and clapping his hands together.
Come on then. This cooperative isn't going to run itself.
Sirius still had some opinions about Marlene, of course. Remus refused to hear them. He wanted the matter closed, he wanted to move on, and he wanted to meet Danny as soon as he possibly could. For the first time, for better or for worse, Remus felt he had an ally out there, someone who was like him, on their side. He wrote another letter, then scrapped it and tried again, then again, and again. There was so much to say, Remus wasn't sure where to start.
What do you want to talk to him for, though?
Sirius yawned one night in bed as Remus gave up on another attempt to properly introduce himself.
You know more about being a werewolf than he does. It's not as if he'll have any special insight.
It's not really about that.
Remus yawned back, putting out his wand light and lying down. He rubbed the knuckles and fingers on his right hand. Some days he felt as if he never put his quill down. He was always writing, if not feverishly revising his notes for NEWTs, then making complex calculations in aid of the big prank, or writing to Grant or Ferox or Danny.
Wait until school's finished, then,
Sirius advised.
Safer for both of you.
There are 3 moons between now and then.
Remus replied, trying to get comfortable. The sheets always ended up wrinkled in Sirius's bed. He had no idea how the other boy managed it.
I know that.
Sirius replied indignantly.
But there's not much you can do, is there?
Suppose not.
And you don't owe him anything?
No.
Remus chose his words carefully.
But I owe it to myself to do the right thing, don't I?
Is that what got into your head?
Sirius was frowning, Remus could tell. A flutter in his belly told him they were heading for a fight, and he could avert it right now by just changing the subject.
What do you mean? What got into my head?
Remus snapped.
When you wrote to Danny in the first place. You've got to admit it was a bit reckless.
Excuse me?
Well, for someone who spent 7 years trying to keep every aspect of himself completely private, it was a bit bonkers to just go and send a letter to a stranger.
My friend's brother.
Spilling your guts about everything.
Not everything.
But if it was all in the service of doing the right thing, then I suppose that's fine.
Look, if you're pissed off with me, then just say so. This sarcastic crap doesn't suit you, Black.
Remus rolled over onto his side.
I'm not pissed off,
Sirius said.
Good.
Remus knew that wasn't the end of it. He waited, practically champing at the bit.
I've just been thinking, that's all.
Sirius said finally. Remus smirked to himself before rolling back over, frowning.
What?
It's like you wanted to leave or something.
Obviously I wanted to leave.
Remus hissed, going in.
I told you. It's pointless, me doing NEWTs, pissing about with silly exams and clubs and pranks when things are happening out there right now. I had a chance to help, and I took it. So what if I didn't care about the consequences? Calling me reckless? I thought you'd understand. What happened to wanting to get back at your family? What happened to wanting to put a stop to it?
I do want to,
Sirius said, sounding smaller.
Well, you're not acting like it. You seem more fussed about that stupid Quidditch match than the war. Maybe they're the same thing to you.
Merlin,
Sirius replied weakly.
You don't stop until you've tasted blood, do you?
Must be the wolf in me.
Remus said shortly. He rolled over again and shut his eyes.